Cloud. Okay, it is 1:00 p.m. and I'm calling this meeting of the Cambria Community Service District Park Recreation and Open Spaces Committee to order. We have a quorum of the committee. Let's see. All our folks here, we have who's on Zoom, attendees, Ron Roach.
Oh, Ron.
Who's that?
Yeah. Nice.
Great. And on Zoom and around the room, I guess you can see who's around the room. But just for the benefit, around the table. Yeah.
Jim Beringer.
Yeah. Matt Mulhaney, General Manager. Juliana Madej. In the back corner is Laura Schwartz.
Steve Newfan.
Matt Jeff.
Jeff Wilson.
Shannon Sutherland.
Michael Thomas, and over on the sidelines, we have Harry Farmer. We have a quorum. Chair report. This is the last meeting of the Pros Committee for the 2023-2024 term. Starting next month, we'll have some new membership. So that's the reason for bringing in sandwiches and a cake. Just so much appreciation for the the hard work and effort everyone's put in, and for the patience. That's the hardest thing that comes, I think, for all of us. Julie, joined the pros committee last year, but she's been involved in pros for longer than I can remember. Sort of driving the skate park effort, and although Julie declined to continue for the next term, I know the partnership will continue.
Absolutely.
And I'll do you got my commitment to do all I can to help this skate park that last few yards over the goal line. Jim, longstanding member of the Pros Commission and the Pros Committee, you always bring a different perspective to our meetings. Appreciate that. And although you declined for the next term, I know that you're going to continue to volunteer and serve the community in lots of other ways. Yeah. Steve, kind of the fearless leader of the Pros Commission. Again, for as long as I can remember, always bring urgency to action to the meetings. Disappointed that you're also not continuing to the next term, but you do so much for the community, and I'll miss you on the committee. I'll be asking myself, what would Steve say in this situation? And is there, can we just get something done? So I'll try to keep that spirit alive. Shannon, thank you for you've really been the driving force on the community park, creating momentum, and boy, I'm really grateful for your shared leadership. And Jeff joined the Pros Committee a year and a half ago. Graciously accepted the thankless role of secretary. Thank you for putting in the hard work, and it's important getting an accurate public record of our proceedings. And I thank you for that, and appreciate the energy you bring into the community park effort as well. So, thanks for that. Looking ahead, right, at the February 13 CCSD board meeting, there will be appointments. So right now we have 3 open seats. We have 3 applicants. I'm really pumped. Mark Jaffe is here. Mark has applied. Matt, yeah. Did I say Mark? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we got Mark Landsman, Gary Stevenson, and yes, Matt Jaffe. Thank you. So again, none of this is official, but at the next board meeting, we will make it so. So during public comment, I'll ask you to say a few things, introduce yourself. What else? Board meeting today just finished. there were insufficient protests to, in the public hearing, so the rate increase will proceed. But as far as I'll go on that, save the great news on the restroom for that report. And by the way, this agenda is identical to the December 17th agenda that we canceled for lack of a quorum. For the ad hoc committee reports, our active ad hoc is on the agenda. Any committee member communications? Okay, on we go. So let's have public comment now, and Matt, if you want to go first and introduce yourself.
Okay. Again, my name is Matt Jaffe. My wife Becky and I moved here about 2.5 years ago. We had lived in Calabasas, finally decided to make the jump. We've been eyeing a move for a long time. I'm originally from Chicago. My background, and I'm still working, I'm a journalist, writer. I was with Sunset Magazine for 20 years, and I've been working for a variety of publications since I left Sunset, and specializing in travel, environment, arts, pretty much anything they'll hire me for, that's just kind of the nature of freelance work. And love Cambria. The open space and parks here were one of the big draws for us coming up. We just got a puppy a few months ago, and we were walking on Fiscalini this morning, and we really feel privileged to live here. And I'm hoping in whatever way I can to contribute to this effort. I think it's exciting, the prospect of this community park being further developed and created, and again, hope to collaborate with everybody and do what I can, however I can help.
Thanks. Laura, do you want public comment on?
Public comment, well, I'll put part of it on the public. Okay, we wanted to thank, David Aguirre very much for reopening up Fern Canyon, because a tree had fallen across it. And we went and we cleaned up some of it, and then we realized after cleaning up some of it, it was very dangerous because it was ready to crack some more. And if you tried to duck under it, you could have gotten squashed. So anyhow, Crosby notified David, and he came out immediately, closed the trail, and then within a couple of days, he got the obstacle out of the way and did quite a nice job of cleaning up all the slack. So I guess that's public comment.
Thank you.
David just missed that.
You got a big thanks. Yeah.
Oh, you didn't hear it?
Thanks for and helping out.
By the way, David recently had a birthday.
Yeah. Well, you notice over here on our, in the corner is a cake. The corner of the room, the Olala berry cake, and we may have a ceremonial cutting later, or just go grab a piece. And this will also be your birthday cake.
Thank you.
Heck yeah.
One of them.
We're going to ask embarrassing questions. Okay. So reports from affiliated community groups. Looks like Laura, you're up on the board's committee.
Okay, well, again, David, you didn't hear, I gave you this, from Fern Canyon. So that was
thank you. Thank you.
You can listen to the tape and see how I rambled on. Okay, so the report from the forest committee. First of all, Crosby is on Zoom. He dropped me off, so he wasn't when you read. He should be on Zoom at this point. Our report is we're in the very final stages of our weed guide. We've been running back and forth to get the printer. There's always, corrections, and it just goes on and on. And let's see, we thank David. This year, we hope to be more active in our promoting ourselves and being visible. We intend to go to Earth Day we have more information out there, including our weed guide and different brochures, and to let people know a little bit more of what we're doing. Thing is, we continue to have monthly discussions. We have a very interesting lively group, everybody from Rancho Marino to just a very interesting group, and anybody is welcome to join us on Zoom, including Harry as our liaison, Mr. Farmer, excuse me. The one thing I wanted to bring up is kind of tree appreciation in this particular timing with all these things going on. On the internet, Crosby does look at a lot of different things that are printed, and just to appreciate our trees over in Europe and in Chile and the Canary Islands, what they're doing is they're capturing fog with fog nets. And some of that hasn't been working because of high winds, so they're going through great expense and making kind of imitation trees with pine needles, because it is so effective in collecting water for some of the young plants that they're planting. So I just want to say we should be appreciating our pine trees because we already have them. We should take care of them because they water underneath of them inches and inches per year when we do get fog, and it will come back. So I think that's enough report. Thank you. Any questions?
Thanks, and yeah, the spare no expense caught my attention. That's that's something that we're not familiar with. Yeah, having the ability to spare no expense, so, but yeah, we're lucky to have the tree. Questions? Further discussion? Okay, Shelley Bechter is not here. I think that's all we've got. I do know, and
Michael,
oh, yes,
Ron, maybe? We consider him a part of the affiliated groups or no?
I'm drawing a blank. Ron is.
Ron Roach is with, he's with the San Luis Obispo County Parks and Recreation Commission.
Oh,
He's-
Was he our new?
Yeah,
format?
Ron
that's
has
right.
replaced Pandora. So that's why
Right.
it's great to see Ron. So
Yes,
maybe Ron, if Ron has a moment to say hi.
yeah, Ron, you want to come on and say hello? That's right.
Thanks, Ron.
Ask him to unmute. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna click ask to unmute another time, and you know, Ron, if you have a moment to say a few words. And he may be multitasking and busy, but
Yeah.
we had a good visit with him, so.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's nice to see Ron attending. So thank you, Ron.
He's got his hand up, so it looks like he wants to.
There we go.
He can't.
I'm clicking the button multiple times with the ask to.
Maybe you need to make your cursor a little bigger.
Or you could click the three.
Click the speaker and I'm, let's try that one too. Go.
If you click the three dots,
I mixed your
Yeah.
jokes.
promote to panelist,
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
he should be able to unmute himself.
Okay,
Grab a couple.
Ron will be rejoining as
Thanks.
panelist, okay.
Three, two,
All right.
And he should be able to unmute himself.
There he is.
There it is.
There he is.
Oh, there is need volume now. Now we're on mute.
Oh.
Oh, boy. We're not hearing, boy, we're in trouble. Okay.
us?
You see his microphone muted there, but
No, he's unmuted. Or wait,
I did, yeah, you're still muted. I see it, yeah. Oh, I'll try
asked
it
to
on.
unmute. All right.
Huh.
Well,
Yeah,
anyway,
well, Ron, from the screen, it looks like, yeah, you're on mute and, yeah. Technology,
yeah,
look, if you get back in, anytime. Yeah, we're not that formal. We'll carry on, but,
thanks
yeah,
for joining, Ron.
yeah. Thanks for meeting with Jeff and Shannon and appreciate it. Okay, and what else? I don't know if you know, y'all know, ice plant removal, and Fiedler, they've got, three more, on alternating Tuesdays coming up soon. So if you're interested, give me a shout, I'll get you connected. And unless I'm mistaken, that brings us to facilities and resources. So, David, the floor is yours.
What we've been doing, we've been going back and cleaning up a lot of the trees and debris out on East Branch and also on some of our lots. We got our crew have been working really good. Just looking at the numbers from last year to this year, also the use of our chipper, we've actually put 100 hours on it. So we've been pretty active with doing a lot of chipping, a lot of stuff that hasn't been done in the past within the district. We've been monitoring a lot of the just the lots, going out and double checking on looking at what's going to be coming up in the next weed abatement. We've already picked out a couple of areas where we're taking trees out, dead trees and stuff of that nature. Other than that, we've just been maintaining, we've been helping out with the water department with meters, reads, stuff of that nature. But as for the general, for everything that we do on the pros end, we're pretty solid. We've been keeping up with the water issues over at the dog park when they run out. The guys we're doing their diligence, going over and checking those about every 2 weeks. Everything's going pretty good. We're flowing really good in our department. I haven't had any big issues. The only thing I know to bring up, I guess yesterday went out, tried to find out, I got a notification in regard to somebody let their dogs go out on the Fitzwilliam Ranch. They're out there killing rabbits. So this is something that's come back. This has not happened, but more than once, from what I've heard. And when I'm trying to find them, I can't find them. There's somebody out there letting off their 2 pit bulls and they're running through the forest and killing rabbits, and it's been seen by the public. So I know that's a situation, just not knowing on how to go about it. We can't enforce anything. We go and conversate with them. You know, that's where I'm at with that. The foraging, it did start a little bit with the whole thing with the mushrooms out on the ranch. I've confronted a couple different people about that one, and the sheriffs are going to be more or less watching Highway 1 and Santa Rosa Trail. They'll be pulling in there periodically, just making sure people coming in and out of there, doing their thing, coming out with trash bags. We did remove a good truckload of debris from a homeless encampment. It seems like somebody was hiding stuff, so we ended up pulling it out 2 weekends ago. Got pulled out, got removed. But other than that, we've been pretty solid, pretty busy. We're trying to get caught up with the TTRPs or the troopers and the TRPs. We already have 3 stained, sand and stained, and I'm still working with Claudia and also the other lady's name. We're trying to figure out a way to swap those out on the street. We're sanding them inside of our shop in the minimum room that we have. I have one guy dedicated to it. Trying to get the plants and the units into our shop without desecrating the plants. That's our problem right now. So we're trying to figure out a way that we can do it to where it's feasible for us, doing basically 3 to 6 a week. That's what we're trying to do to get them all accomplished and taken care of. So other than that, that's everything that I got.
Did you help remove some of those mushrooms, David?
No,
Just a few
Just a
chanterelles?
few?
I wish. No. It's a life experience from what I hear.
Yeah, go ahead.
David, any update on Michael 2, the Bluff Trail signage?
The Bluff Trail signage, I have not sat down and gone over that. The last thing, to be
Okay.
honest with you, a couple days after the whole field trip that we had,
Yep.
I kind of set it aside. We're trying to get caught up. Now we're going to be starting putting out the cabling and posting, and I'll be working with Kitty on that in regards to signage and whatever we come across.
Great, yeah,
To make it
yeah,
work.
yeah, Jeff, David, yeah, Kitty and I did a walk on the ranch, along the bluff on December 5, and you know, a lot of spots, a lot of footage, and in a general philosophy, we do not want visitors off trail, except, you know, we've got benches, right? That's fair game, and somehow, you know, to create some sort of post cabling and signs. And we know darn well that's preventive, but you know, some people will still ignore that, and that's life. We don't, but it's, let's do what we can. That's the thought. So, good question. What else? Okay, Kitty let me know that she wouldn't be able to make the meeting today. And so Julie on the skate park.
Okay, well, before I talk about the skate park, I know Kitty's not here and I don't want to rain on their parade. I just want to share some good news. John Nixon is Citizen of the Year on behalf of the Cambria Chamber of Commerce this year. And I know that they were really excited to announce that, and he does a lot of work with FFRP. So congratulations, John Nixon, and there'll of course be an appreciation dinner for our Citizen of the Year and Business of the Year. Business of the Year is Cookie Crock, and it will be at the Cavalier February 11th with more details to follow. So again, congratulations, John Nixon. I know he does a lot of work besides FFRP in our community in many places. Skate park. All right, let's update you. I'm going to keep it brief only because I think there's going to be a lot happening within the next 60 to 90 days. But I know the public really, Matthew does a really good job, our general manager, of doing periodic updates that go to the community as to, you know, what the stages are on many different things within our district. And that has been happening, but since October, it kind of feels like we've been in a little bit of a, what's the word I want to use? Lull, thank you. A little bit of a lull. And I do believe in the next 60 to 90 days, you're going to start hearing more. So I'm just going to share right now where we are on track. And that is, we are definitely on track in regards to the grant and grant funding. From what I've been told, it does appear that it's going to be somewhere in February. I know we talked latter part of January, but I think February is fair and realistic. Yeah.
That's our hope. You know, the feds have finished their review, but the funding piece is in their hands. We've been told first quarter, hopefully February, but it's hard to get them to move.
And of course, that funding is critical because we need that funding to take place because it is part of a bigger narrative in regards to our conversations with the district and the current MOU on moving forward to an RFP. So we are working on very creative conversation right now in regards to in-kind contributions. And that will be part of what is exciting and coming into solutions to getting us to a finish line faster to be able to go out to RFP. So that's about where I want to put the skate park at the moment. We of course are working closely with the board and with our general manager, and we will continue to do so. Our hope, of course, is April to October is out of a rainy season, right? So there's a lot of hope in that window to avoid things like erosion control and being able to try to get something started, but we're moving as quickly as we can. I do want to say to the public that we'd like to continue to say thank you for their patience in this process. If we could move this process faster, we would do it. I know it's been 4.5 years, and believe me, we are extremely aware of it because of inflation and other parts of the conversation. So I just want to shout out to all of those who are waiting for the park to open. It is coming. I feel very confident in that. I just wish it could happen quicker. The county is working diligently right now with our engineer, however, and that is good news. They have reported back that by the end of this month, it was in planning review. They're very close to the construction permit, which is also a critical piece. We have land use permit, but we need a construction permit. That's what I've got.
Fantastic.
Did I cover that? Is there anything you want to add?
Just already kind of what you touched base on, you know, we spoke, maybe it was November was the last pros meeting that I attended in terms of some of our funding gaps that Skate Cambria and the community council are working on. We've completed our end on the CCSD side for the grant. We're hoping for funding in February, and then we'll put those numbers together and see if, additionally, Steve Chavez, we talked about in our ad hoc meeting, Steve Chavez, who's a colleague of Monty's, is working on a mock bid, not an engineering estimate, but what he would actually bid the project, which will tell us and give us a number that Julie and the council's been looking for as the number that would cost to build the park. And I know Cisco from Sticks and Stones is supposed to be working on one, but I haven't.
It's done. I just need to, need to get it to you.
Yeah. So if we get that, that could help inform the RFP a little bit in terms of where we are in terms of funding versus, the intent of the MOU as it stands now, that we have to have the money in hand. So once we get the federal funding and then we get, that mock bid, it'll give us that number and that range of where we are financially.
Yeah. we'll
And
leave
then
it
Steve is supposed to get his to us in the next couple of weeks.
Fantastic. All right. And, you know, so, yeah, the community park restroom, share the good news coming.
Yeah, we just spoke with public restroom company who's working with Hartsel, the contractor. The ground is prepped, and we are targeting February 4th. That be barring any delays. There's my folder, lots of folders. It's like Tuesday, February 4th is our tentative schedule for the restroom being delivered.
There was some discussion at the board. Someone mentioned, yeah, get the politicians out there. And I'm not talking about, me and Harry. I'm talking about, the Carbajal types. Is that going to happen?
We can reach out. Yeah, reach out.
And has that started or is someone?
It hasn't started yet. I just got this email yesterday in terms of the actual date, so we can start reaching out. Bruce Gibson, Carvajal,
Mhm.
folks like that.
So this is related to the bathroom, but I should have actually brought it up a lot earlier. I was going to ask about this because Slow County Parks and Rec, they have their own Instagram posts where they're sharing all the great things that they're doing for the community. And so I was gonna ask if that's something that we could do for pros and start even taking pictures like for the installation. We took pictures of the prep. We take pictures of the installation and kind of start promoting what we're doing for the community. I know we brought that up a long time ago and I know you're doing that, and you're doing a great job, but they carved out their own little announcements. And it looks really good, so just got the idea.
So for pros to have their own Instagram or
Or
us?
even you guys do it on behalf of pros, it's
Sure.
fine, but yeah.
Yeah, we have an Instagram that's linked to the Facebook account.
Yeah,
So we can do that.
So yeah, if we put together some content. then-
Absolutely.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, just send it our way and Haley and I will blast it out.
Okay,
Fantastic, yeah, go. I'm about as familiar with Instagram as I am with Instamatics. That goes back a ways. But I'm glad you're head on there.
Matt, does that include the paving that will need to be done to get out, or is that
That'll
subsequent?
be subsequent, because the restroom has to be,
It's- And Hartsel, is that Hartsel that's contracted to do the paving?
I believe so. I'd have to double check.
That's
Okay.
right, on the
I'll
contract.
have to double check the contract, but I believe so.
Okay,
We just have to get the restroom in place and settled in and
Yeah.
hooked up, and then that's the next phase of it.
is there a cement skirt? Concrete skirt around the restroom?
I'd have to
Yeah.
look at the plans.
I can't, for some reason I think there is, but I may be wrong on that.
I can
Anyway,
check with Jim
that cement work has to be done subsequent. Yeah,
to the restroom being landed, yeah.
okay.
Any more questions? Matt, anything else on the restroom? That's progress. So that brings us to consent agenda. Yeah, generally easiest topic on our agenda. And any errors, corrections in the minutes? All right.
I second.
All right, all in favor?
Hi.
Anyone opposed? Okay. Thank you, unanimous. Which brings us to regular business, the community park planning update. And Shannon and Jeff, how do you want to handle this? You want me to bring the content that's in the agenda packet?
Yeah, let's
Oh.
talk about that.
Okay.
So we completed our engagement. And just to kind of remind everybody, the engagement, the actual goal of the engagement was to tell the community, show the community what we're working on. Feedback, and then provide a feedback mechanism for people if they wanted to provide feedback. wasn't necessarily to collect feedback on what we're doing. So we did get, as of, me publishing what I sent, over 1,000 responses, and, I'm sorry, over 100. And with the vast majority being very much in favor for every one of the components that we listed as far as the park was concerned. So it was good feedback. People had the chance to comment on everything. And, tell us exactly what they thought, which some people really did. Some of it was a little confusing. But there was a lot of good, commentary in there. One in particular, a family moved here 2 years ago, starting a family, very excited to help out with providing more for their children to do in this community. So I thought that was really nice to hear.
Share, when I click share, I get this sign in. So this is something that Haley would normally set up.
Are you trying to share the agenda?
Correct.
As a PDF.
Oh.
So meanwhile, we do have copies over there on the share. And it does start on page 6 of the agenda package.
If you want to stop sharing, I'll share mine and then. See it on my computer.
Michael, I was gonna add in, I did take the time, I read through everything, read through all the comments. One of the things I noticed was, there's always that sector of our community that wants nothing placed out at the park. Totally understand that. But I also noticed that I was trying to find one component that was like the standout, like of all the different components, is there one that is being favored more than anything? And I didn't find that. In other words, there was enough of a divide where it was kind of equal. And so I was just gonna come to both of you because I feel like you guys are in the data a little bit thicker than I am, to see if you saw something different, like.
No, and that's what I'm saying. When I looked at the distribution, the data kind of shows a support of the whole
I felt the
package,
same
the
way
whole
too.
idea.
Yeah.
No huge standouts for people who were in favor. I think the disc golf got the most bad ideas, which is interesting because it was the community came to pros with the idea of disc golf, so.
Right.
I don't think there was a lot of people who didn't understand that disc golf is not golf. And so there was a lot of comments about how they didn't want a golf course in our town, which I totally do, but. So, of course, we can't go back and explain, this is not a golf course, this is disc golf, and you won't even be able to see it out there on the ranch, so.
Interestingly, from farmer's market, everybody, disc golf.
It was the biggest hit.
Eyes light up.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if there were some misinterpretations.
Yeah, I honestly think that is actually more the case. Talking to people, because we spent, endless Fridays out at farmer's market, talking to people about this. And people were very excited. The majority of people that come to farmer's market, crazy enough, are people from out of town. But they also say, like, unanimously, one of the things we heard was that there's not a whole lot to do in this town. They love walking on the ranch, they love walking on Moonstone, but other than that, like, they look for something to do. So, talking about the skate park, talking about disc golf, talking about volleyball, any of that. People were very, very excited to have something to do in this town, which, is kind of something that we've heard over and over again for the last 30 years, but I think that I was personally excited to see that the majority of the, support, or there was a vast majority of people supported this project in general. If you look at it, you see the good idea and great idea. Those are typically the two highest in the graph there.
I was a little saddened that the playing fields didn't have more of standout data.
Because we're not promoting soccer and baseball fields like what was in the original
It's more
plan.
general.
It's a
Yeah.
little more general, yeah.
I got it.
And we did get a good contingency of Hispanic. I had some some good friends who took it out to the Hispanic community and really reached out and made sure that people actually looked at this, which was, I thought really great too.
Well, there's, I mean, you know, at Playfield, there's a huge spike on great idea. It's not as high as a couple of the others,
Right.
not as high as the playground.
Yeah.
Hey, Laura?
Yeah, and just a comment, we were out there walking, watching them, brush the bathroom and everything. And just for an observation, there was 2 flocks of snowy plovers out there in the playing fields. Just wanted to mention it.
Well, we are in no way going to be taking away habitat when we
No,
do the
I'm not-
park. So that's the great thing about everything we've proposed,
I
is that it
wasn't,
really blends into the natural environment and
I wasn't saying that, I was just putting out information that it was interesting as we were walking around, that there were snowy plovers and
That's awesome.
that's all I'm saying.
so then the idea when we go take this and present it to the CCSD board in February is that I will rewrite the report and embed this data with the most current data. I think there's only a few more responses, but I'll make sure it's all included.
And pull out, you know, the raw data and somehow easy interpretation of it.
Absolutely.
Make it,
Make it a little bit more digestible, but I will embed it. We'll take out the matrix. I'll distill the matrix that we have that shows where we went out into the community to get the engagement information
Mhm.
and the responses that we got on the online survey, and there's only a few paper ones. And distill that into something that's easily digestible, so.
If I, just one last comment. Between all the engagement you had with the different organizations throughout the community, from the community council to the tourism board, to probably the 10 different organizations within the community. Not quantitatively, because we didn't capture feedback in those conversations. But I can say, having participated with Steve and a number of them and on my own, overwhelming support from those organizations for the community park. Certainly in addition to what we captured through this data and conversations at farmers market for 2 months, pretty much. My observation, my conclusion is that having done all that engagement about as exhaustively as we probably could, and we also, with the San Luis Obispo, Ron's not on anymore, but San Luis Obispo's,
That would be.
Shannon did a great presentation in fair detail of all of this. And the response, of course, from them was very, very positive as well. So my point is that I feel both quantitatively as well as qualitatively, there's great support for the community park in this community and outside the community. And I think we will be remiss if we don't pursue that and make it happen.
I would just add on 2 counts. So what Jeff just said, and you add that to the fact that the land was purchased. We raised the money by saying that we would put recreation on that spot. So that's like, you know, taking people's money, doing something and doing something totally different with it would be just criminal. I mean, the county, I don't think they would let us. But so we have community support, we purchased the land for recreation. Now we got to put it together.
Yeah, that promise has been there for decades.
Yeah, I think the challenge is the county isn't opening their checkbook, Shannon, so that has been,
Well, I mean, I think the checkbook thing is gonna be fine, so I'm not worried about that.
yeah.
And then
I am.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm sure Matthew-
I have that grant form on my desktop, though. I've been like, I'm going, filling that entire thing out. Dang it, I had something else I was gonna add.
Well, I think just in that vein is if I think for us and others in governance here, who can influence and control this? My belief is we would be serving the public interest and we'd be wise to continue this work into 2025. And that includes, finding at least some interim funding that would enable us to take this, this basic drawing, right? And move it into the next phase with whether it's Monty or the county or both to get a much better design product that we can then move forward with in terms of county approvals, if you will, and funding. So I think we have this interim, the funding, excuse me, just
Yeah.
one second. The funding for the actual projects, we know what we have ahead of us. But the interim pieces that we need to accomplish to get
The
there, to
design
get to
and-
that point, I think we owe it to ourselves and the community to do that. That's my point.
So.
Can I just say, because I was gonna introduce you so that you could talk about what we're proposing following month with the CCSD.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, and the only thing I want to add before you say that is that I just want to remind everybody that what we were tasked with by the CCSD was to show recreational components on a map. So what we have here is a very high level, 40,000 feet look at the park. And we have an idea now how we can approach putting all these components together into a cohesive, build project. And to that end, Matt had a great idea.
Yeah, so I think we spoke about, or maybe it was just Director Thomas and I in one of our board walks. Or Vice President, excuse me. Is that what I interpret the board wanting to see eventually is when you bring this plan forward is ultimately the question is gonna come out. What's
course.
this gonna cost?
Yeah.
And we won't know that until we actually have it designed. So we're looking forward after your presentation within the next month, maybe 2 months, depending on the feedback from the board, because I assume based on your experience with the board, your presentation will have questions or maybe even directions to go back and bring us this at the next meeting. There's potential for that or not. If there isn't a go back to the drawing board to make a couple tweaks, then the following month we can bring back a request for a budget adjustment to fund the design and construction documents and what that would look like, engineering estimate. And then from there, we'll know the numbers that we're chasing within reason. Obviously with inflation, as we've experienced with the skate park. So we'll have a ballpark figure of what that park might cost.
So we have the design and engineering specs and cost for the disc golf, because that's a carve out. We have, I'm working with a couple different companies to put together design and engineering specs and cost for the playground. And then, so then you're left with the playing field, the picnic areas. Which one of the picnic areas, at least with the cornhole and horseshoes. We don't really need any design specs, but that's something that we're gonna work with Monty to make sure that we don't need design specs. And there are a couple of us who are willing to just buy the things and just put them on the ground. And the sand volleyball court. So not every component needs to be, we don't need to do build plans and cost estimates for every single one of these components, but most of them.
And then that'll tell us permitting wise what the county's gonna want from us, ADA pathways. If concrete will be money, or maybe it's DG, what is the county gonna allow us to do in terms of waivers from what they typically ask for? So.
Right, and then we'll have, the costs associated with obviously construction permits and the monitoring. The pot rate type work. Right. Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah.
Another public comment opportunity.
Yeah, just something very low cost that I hadn't seen in the park design, again, walking it. You have such a wonderful creek there. Is there a way to put in a creek viewing area that's safe? Because it drops way off and the kids and grown-ups would probably want to look over and see the creek.
That's a great idea. I mean, when, Gail and I were visiting, the Finger Lakes, we were taking a walk about, and, along the creek side, there's lots of trees, but the underbrush was low enough that you could see all the way through, see across, but that's a lot of underbrush. I don't know.
Yeah, look at it, David.
We did chunk this out.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, we
I
chunked
can't imagine.
this out in phases.
Here's out.
So this is just a phase, and as we move forward, we can do additional phases with additional ideas. I would trying to future-proof this, so phase 16 is we take something out because no one does it, and we put something else
I
in.
wasn't trying to suggest taking anything out, I was just.
Oh,
saying,
no, but I'm just saying
Put
that,
a little fencing there so that you can go over to the edge and look, and the kids wouldn't be at risk. That's all I would say, just a small area with a little fencing for safety, not taking anything out, as you know.
Yes.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, that's a great idea. There's, yeah.
I'm just saying there's room for future phases where
Yeah.
we could do exactly
Yeah.
that.
And circling back on your question for the restroom, it gets dropped. Hartzell is doing the cement walk path and Jim says there is a cement skirt around it.
Thanks for confirming.
Is it a walk, you know, I know there's a walkway skirt, or is it just a? My hunch is it was like a 12 to 18.
Thanks for the update.
Details on.
Yeah, poodle skirt or kind of like, yeah, sock hop, yeah, skirt.
I thought I saw it on the drawing, but I
Yeah.
couldn't tell, you know,
It's
2 feet,
It's gonna be
3
weird
feet.
when I'm asking Jim the
Yeah.
length of his skirt.
So anyway,
Hey, well, he's a good Scotsman.
So then I guess the next step is to move forward. I guess we need approval from this group to move forward with the plan as it is.
I move that we move forward with the plan as it is.
I'll second.
So I think what you want,
Done,
let's,
Jim.
yeah,
rapid fire.
what would be the nature of the motion, on this?
It doesn't even have to be a motion,
No.
we're just approving the fact that you're gonna make the presentation as it exists.
It might be, yeah, it might be, you know, a appropriate motion might be to, you know, the motion to present the updated community park, phase 3 plan to the board.
That's about all you can do, is
Right.
at this point,
All right, so
So moved.
that works.
What you said, yeah.
and I'll second.
Okay.
There we go.
So, sorry, is that February,
February, at the
February meeting?
Well,
At the earliest meeting possible.
of course, yeah, it's not our discretion to instruct the general manager at which meeting, but the motion was to present the updated community
Okay.
park. Phase
Although
3 plan
meetings
to-
now are only once a month, so the next meeting would be February 13th.
Yeah, and the odds are really good that we might get it on the agenda, on February 13th,
Okay,
which is not. a
Maybe you can help, maybe you can help.
Yeah, working on it, absolutely, thank you, Jim.
Skirt is ADA compliant at 48 inches, so it'll be 4 feet wide
Okay.
encompassing the perimeter.
Good, you'll be able to sleep on it then.
Nice.
Perfect.
Oh, Steve, yeah, you got all, consider all possibilities, that's right. So,
sorry, before we move on real quickly, just Matt, so you guys understand. The, and I'm sure if I'm using the right language here, but the budget adjustment to provide funding for the next step post board approval. Let's assume in February that we get that approval, just assumption. Is that budget adjustment would then be primed for the roughly the March timeframe?
that would be the hope,
That'd be the
that's
hope.
what we've been
yeah.
talking about.
Okay,
So we have a really good chance of seeing your presentation
Stuff happens, but.
on the 13th. By what I'm looking at, we have a really good chance to see
Yeah.
the presentation on the 13th.
February. Right.
And then depending on board feedback and approval of that presentation, if they don't kick us back to the drawing board.
Right.
Then we will target with hopes of getting it in March to have it on the agenda
Okay.
for a budget adjustment.
Great. Thank you.
And then I was wondering, we've talked about this before in the past, and maybe it's just like me wishing, but do you think there'll be any money left over from the bathroom?
My interpretation is no.
Okay.
The cost for environmental monitoring, Hartzell was the lower bid on that. I'd have to look at the books, but I don't believe there's gonna be extra money from
No,
those.
Hartzell was on the site prep, but now the,
But from the
environmental
overall project.
Yeah.
Is under the restroom budgeting piece, and we're still waiting for the reimbursement from the prop
The grant.
grant, whatever grant, we received at the restroom, we're waiting for that to reimburse the budget.
Mhm.
I thought we were like 100,000 under budget on the restroom, but
Cause I was even hoping for a
Try
couple
over.
$1,000s would do a lot.
yeah,
I'll
So,
take,
anyway.
I'll take a look at the budget where we are with the restroom,
Okay.
you know, it changes and, but then it would be a board decision on how we reallocate those monies if it was to go towards the park.
Yeah, and I guess the only other thing I'd add is that, we have been, just as a talking point, we have been talking with David this whole time as we develop this entire, very broad overview of a plan about maintenance. So maintenance is like always something we are considering, and met with, community council about funding for maintenance and different plans for maintenance. And so I don't want anyone to think that we have forgotten maintenance. It's very high priority on our minds. So that's it.
Okay. So,
Thank you.
we had a motion. I heard the
Oh,
second.
yes,
Did we take, I don't think we took a vote.
we didn't.
Oh.
Thank you, Steve.
No,
So
so Jim moved.
Jim
I
moved
seconded.
and Julie seconded,
I
that,
eyed.
yes. And so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
That was
None opposed? That's universal. Unanimous. All right.
Aye, aye.
6B, the goals, is there anything else, you maintain these, Shannon, anything else that you, will find productive to, talk through?
Not with, because really it's just community park is the only thing right now. Relationship with the San Francisco County Parks and Rec is great, so we're doing good on that one. Radio Grounds Road, thanks to David, it's looking better and better and better. And the trail connecting the east and west ranch is going pretty much nowhere, but because we haven't put any time into it, so.
Michael Kate has a question.
Absolutely.
The Rodeo Grounds Road, I mean, I think there was talk of applying some kind of a surface
Oh, yeah, the ceiling.
treatment. Is that happening? Is that going anywhere? Is that still an option? Or what are we thinking about in terms of options, near term and longer term for Rodeo Grounds Road?
We were going to look into the idea of sealers, and I think it's on us to actually
Oh,
look
it's
into
on
it.
us?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I mean, it used to be common in town that they did that, and they don't do it anymore.
But that would be on the county, because why
Yeah.
would we fork out the money and turn around
County
on
road.
that section?
So ask the
from
county to
Burke
put that sealant
all the
on.
way to the entrance of there. I could see doing a parking lot, but as for that drive, that's all county. I mean, we're more or less gonna be doing the footwork for them and then not get reimbursed.
Well, then do you want to, let's look at that goal when we have our new, well, it's not a board committee, our new committee in place, and hopefully someone will raise their hand and be like, yeah, I really want to do that.
If you look into it, then I can go to NCAC, I can reach out to Blake and talk
Okay.
about it.
Like I
The
said,
conversation I
usually-
had from them is
Very
that
common.
they only maintain it to the
Make it
standard.
passable.
What's
That's
that?
driving
It's
on
just
it.
passable.
Passable.
Well, they maintain it to the original standard to which it was created, something of that nature. So the concept of paving it and things like that, they're not responsible to upgrade it to paving. There was talk about working with the CCSD and splitting the cost. There's just circle talk around that. But we can reach out to them about if the ad hoc or pros takes a look at what it would take to seal that, we can knock on their door and see.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, a lot of times you can take safety and, even though it was originally dirt, now that it's being used much more, I'm sure those are county standards.
I would say too, that originally they probably put the sealer down.
Yeah.
And so they're not doing it anymore, so we can ask them to start doing it
Right.
again. And then too, like, I know I'm in the weeds here and this is probably not the time to do it. We could definitely tackle this in the future, but the intersection, of course, is so dangerous. So dangerous when you're trying to come down Burton and turn into rodeo grounds. And, the dog park, I go there all the time, so it's a tough thing. And the trees at the bridge are so tall, you can't see around, there's no signage, there's no nothing. That's always been a super bad little turn. And the asphalt's always been sloughing away right there. So again, something maybe we put an ad hoc together in the future or do something to start really pestering the county to do something about that entire intersection.
Yeah, the standards have changed. In other words, they probably had a use of only one car a week. And now they're having a standard of 30 cars a day or 50 cars a day. They probably, even though they only did it for one reason way back when, and they have a budget problem also. But to be able to show that this is in fact a now much more well-used
Well,
property, and maybe we can get more lobbying or get some.
yeah, and interestingly, the bridge, the pedestrian bridge that was put there, my brother was able to show, original, photographs of the area, and a footbridge was actually there. And so when it came time to do that bridge, it was a replacement. And that road, Rodeo Grounds Road, was used for the entire community, very heavily traveled. We had rodeos there when I was a kid, and we all went there. So again, we would be asking them to bring it back to the standard of, the communities using it. Cause they did at one time. So that would just maybe a good arguing point with the county.
So, sorry, just to tackle the responsibility there, that's pros, to initiate those conversations,
All we
or,
can do is initiate, yeah.
Yeah.
okay, and we would initiate that with, is that with Blake, is that right? Probably through Blake and Bruce?
Mm-hmm. Always a good place to start,
Okay,
because Blake can steer you in the right direction.
yeah. Okay, so Michael chose you on that. I'm
That's
happy to, I'm happy to take that.
Well,
Unless you wanna,
Shannon's suggestion was, next month,
Next month.
let's, have a deeper revisit. We'll have 3 new members. And so
okay,
that would probably be a really good time.
better time,
Yeah. To take, look at reassignment.
responsibility, okay, fair enough, yep.
So does that bring us to future agenda items?
Yes.
Right. So,
That was one.
that's one. Obviously, the next meeting, it'll be a new committee. I'll do some sort of orientation. Revisit, the bylaws, that sort of thing, the key, those key elements, and what else?
May I ask a favor?
Absolutely.
Since I won't be here in this seat, I would like to be in that seat. So if the skate park can be listed as one of the, reporting groups, I would appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I will report in as I can.
And
Can
I'm
you
not,
still have her just keep it where it is and Julie still provide the report? Cause it is really a function of,
yeah, because here's FFRP, right, and skate park, and it is a project that is 100% within the scope of this committee. So it'll either be here or it'll be there. But, and I'll check in with council, but I think that's where it belongs. So, yeah, but one spot or another, yeah. And that may be it. Anything else? Well, actually, an half an hour early. This is a land speed record for us.
Yeah.
So, for the benefit or the, I guess, detriment, there's Crosby, my apologies, Crosby, but ask Laura to bring a piece of cake home for you, because we're just about to go, in the words of the average white band, cut the cake. So, with that, it is, 1:58 PM, and I'm calling this, meeting adjourned.